Hey you are listening to the Latter-day Ladypreneur podcast. This is Sarah Allred, your host. Dive into a sweet mix of interviews with business gurus as well as solo episodes with me about the business lessons that have transformed me along this journey, with some sweet connections to Nephi, Esther, and all your other scriptural heroes thrown in the mix. Look, over a year ago, I was paralyzed. Business profits were almost non-existent, and it seemed pointless to keep spending hours on this business of mine when I could have made more at McDonald's. The most painful part, as I felt the hustle of it all, was taking my focus away from those I love most, in my home. So why the paralysis? Why couldn't I just walk away? Look, I knew deep down in my soul that God had called me to do this, to grow a business, to uncover a way to inspire others to do the same. So how could both exist? A thriving business and a thriving home? That's when I met a mentor that opened my eyes to a whole new way of doing business. A system that has brought more money, more time, and more impact into my life in the past 6 months than I've ever had in nearly 10 years of business. This fancy system is called funnels, and I want you on board with me. If your time is feeling crunched, your ideas of how to help more people are slim, or you simply need to stop reinventing your business every single day, you need this fancy and profitable approach to business called funnels. I've packed everything I've learned in the past year that has brought me connections, profitability, a loyal following, but more importantly, the feeling at home I have ached for a decade into my life. You can do it too. It doesn't matter what business you're in. Build your business through the world of funnels in just 45 days with the Funnel Blueprint Challenge at sarahgracelive.com/challenge. Bonus, for a limited time, your seat in the challenge includes a free buddy pass, because everyone needs a business buddy. Keep moving forward. Your heavenly parents need you and your gifts, and so does the world. Now, enjoy the podcast. Hey you, this is Sarah with the Latter-day Ladypreneur podcast. Super excited that you're back here to listen. Just a little heads up about this solo episode. This is a recording that I made back in January of 2020 when I was in Nashville, Tennessee at Funnel Hacking Live. The content received such an awesome response that I wanted to bring it here on the podcast to make sure everybody could enjoy it. So you might hear a couple of things in the background as I'm hanging out in a hotel room and a couple of references to the event that I'm at, but I think you'll really enjoy the content that's given to you in this episode. Thanks again for joining me, and enjoy this episode. Hey everybody, it is Sarah from Sarah Grace Live. Really excited to be reporting to you from Funnel Hacking Live 2020. I'm here in Nashville, Tennessee, and today was a big day. Do you know what it's like to learn about funnels for like 12 hours a day? It's pretty rad. It's pretty rad, but also really overwhelming. So how do you pick a takeaway from the day? Something that really stood out to me was something that reminded me of years and years ago. I was sitting in Glendale, Arizona. My husband was in med school, and I was sitting there, and I had a rare night away to attend the broadcast of the General Relief Society meeting for General Conference. And I remember sitting there, and I remember being so excited that I was sitting there and being able to watch this broadcast as it was happening. And Linda Reeves got up from the General Relief Society presidency. And you know what? I don't remember hardly anything about her talk, but I do remember this moment in which I was struggling in my own brain about feeling like the whole idea of having to be perfect as a mother and perfect as a member and perfect as a disciple was really kind of haunting me and stalling me from progressing forward. And during that talk, I discovered kind of a fascinating change. Linda Reeves got up, and I really feel like it was one of the very first times that I heard someone talk about failure in their testimony and failure in their faith from the pulpit. She talked about how her husband got really sick, and there were some really serious things happening with his health that this is Sister Linda Reeves, that she was angry with the Lord. And she said, I was angry with the Lord, and I told him so, and I stopped praying because I was so angry at the Lord for allowing my husband to be sick, and the possibility that he was going to pass away and he was going to leave me with our children, and this is not what I signed up for, and that she experienced anger, and she stopped praying, and that she yelled at the Lord through prayer and all these other means. And I actually don't know what the whole moral of the story was in retrospect when I think about that like a decade ago. But I do remember connecting with her and wanting to learn more from her, because in that moment she became someone that was human to me, that I could connect with, that I wanted to learn more from. And I remember after that I kept being like, oh, I wonder if she is going to write a book, and I wonder if she's ever going to speak again, or something like that. Linda Reeves brought something to me that day in the General Relief Society meeting. She brought the fact that it was okay to express disappointment, it was okay to express failure, and it was okay to express the human experience, even at General Conference, and that it wasn't going to be something that was going to crush everybody's faith. Rather, it was going to allow them to be relatable so that we can meet them there and grow through their experiences. So what in the world does this have to do with where we sit now as women who are trying to start movements and trying to start businesses and trying to grow businesses and do all these things? It all comes down to Iron Man. What? Pretty awesome segue there, right? I heard the most amazing man today, Dave Woodward, speak about the importance of being able to be someone behind your movement or someone behind your product that is someone that people want to connect with and like, and how important that is. And why does the answer come in the form of Iron Man? He did this fascinating story, graph, table, data, whatever you want to call it, about the difference between DC comic characters and Marvel characters, and the difference in the success of the comics, and more importantly, the movie genres that have come out. So DC comics are going to be like Superman and Wonder Woman and Batman, if you're not educated, right? Let's be honest, like Funnel Hacking Live's a little bit male dominated, so lots of Star Wars references and lots of Marvel references, wouldn't you say? Little male dominated, right? But it still brought home such a great point. Then on the Marvel's end, we've got Iron Man, we've got Captain America, we've got Spider-Man, we've got Black Widow, we've got the Hulk, all these kinds of things. So you're comparing and contrasting these two groups. And why is it that Marvel has literally dominated the movie scene by, is it $12.3 billion in sales? Because of their difference of characters. Can people connect to Marvel's characters more strongly than they can connect to DC comic characters like Batman and Wonder Woman and something like that? So what is it about Marvel characters that is so different than DC characters, and why is it costing the industry like 12 point something billion dollars in sales in the movie industry? Like, clearly a major spread, right? Clearly a major spread. So here are some of the things that Dave Woodward, totally brilliant, pointed out today at Funnel Hacking Live. And this is how it applies to you. You are the face behind your movement, your product, whatever it is that you are doing. And are you someone that people will just continually want to know, I wonder what that person's going to offer next, or do next, or teach me next, or show me, or enlighten me about, or whatever that may be? That is the secret, is if you can develop a relationship with your amazing customer base where you can express your failures and you can express the mistakes that you made. You can also share about your victories and your stories. And oh my gosh, in the challenge that we do here at Sarah Grace Live, we talk a lot about storytelling and how do we communicate why we're so passionate about the thing that we're passionate about through storytelling. Part of this lies into the whole Marvel principle that we want to become, and I'm not saying be fake about, but we want to become and show people where we are, who we are, with all sincerity, and so that they want to come along with us for the ride. For the ride. Are we the right face behind that business? Yes, if you can be a Marvel character instead of a DC character. Now, what are the differences? The great thing is the things that disqualify DC comic characters are things that you won't have a problem with, okay? Because DC characters, if you think about it, there's actually a really funny Studio C thing. I think if you were to Google, like, Superman Studio C hysterical. Somebody, will you type that in the comments, please? Type in Studio C Superman. You guys have to watch it. I was like, I almost had tears in my eyes. It was so funny. The reason that people don't connect with Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman like they do Marvel characters is because those people are not human. Okay? They have unrealistic powers. Okay? And they don't have depth and emotion and relationships that are deep enough for viewers and fans to carry on long term. Okay, long term. You can have one little one-hit wonders with The Dark Knight, with Batman, or whatever that may be, but there's not enough depth. If you go to the other side, we talk about the ordinary kid, Peter Parker, who is nerdy, who is bullied, who looks across and sees beautiful MJ and really wants to be her boyfriend from across the room. Relatable, real person, but he gets bit by a radioactive spider and he gets some crazy kind of powers, but he's human. That's something kind of special happens to, but he has this incredible relationship with MJ. And funny, DC Comics actually laughed when the Spider-Man comic first came out, because the Marvel comic of Spider-Man, the very first one, spent the first 3 pages talking between Peter Parker and his aunt. I can't remember his aunt's name. Aunt something. Aunt. And DC Comics was like, nobody's going to want to read that. What are you talking about? But they have developed this incredible character in Spider-Man who is human, who has deep relationships with his Uncle Ben and then his aunt and then MJ. And he's a human and he was a nerdy kid and he's trying to balance things and lead these 2 different lives and all this kind of stuff. So much more relatable. What about Iron Man? Okay, he's a millionaire. And what about this whole really interesting relationship that he has with Pepper? Right? There are failures happening there that you can relate to. There are successes happening there. There's tension happening there. All those things are relatable. And then he's not given any powers. He creates his powers. He's an inventor, right? He's an inventor. He's a millionaire. And then all of a sudden he has to wear this costume because it's what makes him survive and all this kind of stuff. All these things that we can relate to. And you can go through the Hulk, right? You can go through all these people who are human and relatable and who are making mistakes and all those kinds of things. And this is a really pivotal part on why Marvel has caught fire and why Disney was so brilliant to capture on to the Marvel industry and the Star Wars industry. All those things, you're going to see it over and over and over. Characters that you just are passionate about, that you care about what happens next. That's what keeps people watching Star Wars for years, right? And why they are just huge fans. Years, grandparents are taking their grandkids to go see it over and over. So what in the world does this have to do with you and your movement? You are human. Yes, that's a win. That's a win. And because of that, you are relatable. You have relationships that impact your business day in and day out. You have stories of successes and failures, whether you are talking about, if you're doing business coaching, you're talking about the time you launched and no one bought, or the 3 people that did buy asked for refunds. Like, that's okay to say. Be the Linda Reeves where you say, it didn't work, I was angry, I stopped praying, and then keep them along in your journey. Like, keep it real. And I think something that can feel so exhausting, especially like in a influencer kind of space, which, gosh, that was a whole other topic for today. Whoa, that might be day 2. I'll have to catch you up on that. But in that kind of a space, we feel like things have to be so elevated and that we're not allowed to progress anywhere, which is a total lie. If you look at Peter Parker, if you look at Iron Man, if you look at the Hulk, all these things, there are these massive progressions and themes that are happening to these characters that keep it interesting. Loki, his relationship with his brother, Thor, I think Thor is his brother. All those kinds of things keep it so where you want to be involved over and over. So I took some notes for you. Here is the framework. The 5 things that you can be in order to be a superhero in your own market niche. I know we've got people here who are teachers. We've got people here who are creating courses, people who teach people how to do courses. All of you, I love you. You're doing such important work. So how can we make you more powerful and more super in a real way so that people constantly want more and more and more from you? So here are the 5 things. The first is to be likable. You know what? You win. Yes, you're all likable. Everyone watching this right now, I know all of you. You are likable, okay? Just be real that way, okay? You got kids? Great. Let's talk about those kids. You've got a business? Great. Let's talk about that business. Be likable. Be who you are, okay? Second is don't be boring, okay? Don't be boring. Offer things that you are excited about. That doesn't mean you have to have crazy, insane, bouncing off the walls energy, which I tend to have like sometimes way too much of, especially when I talk about business and funnels. It kind of gets nuts. But don't be boring about what you're doing. Like, offer something that excites people. You are excited about what you are doing. So be excited in the way that you are excited, and that realness will come across to people, and they can catch on to that and learn from you and gain from your light. Third, share your flaws and your evolution, right? Right? Can we talk about the time when I had a year of feeling totally left out and feeling like victimized for like an entire year in the ways it ruined me? I hope I can continue to share that. Okay. And I'm excited to share with you a little bit later on another thing about a $25,000 investment that did nothing for me in a time in which I did not have $25,000. That was a failure that brought me to an evolution. But I hope we can talk honestly about that and say, I messed up and I spent $25,000 I shouldn't have spent. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about what evolved from that and learn and grow and make it happen. So that's the third thing. 4 is to become a great storyteller. I make a pretty bold promise in the Funnel Blueprint Challenge about the importance of telling your story over and over and over. Continue to tell your story. And the great thing is, if you don't feel like you're really great at telling stories and telling people why you're passionate about what you're passionate about, guess what? Go live about it anyway and be bad at it, because not a ton of people will be watching, and that's okay. You're going to get better at it, like over and over and over and over again, right? I could like have tears down my face laughing. My mentor, Russell Brunson, is here. I was literally like 11 feet from him today and I choked. I'm not even going to tell you the experience because I'm not ready to show that failure. I totally choked, right? It's impossible to get close to Russell Brunson at a conference like this. I choked, people. Say a prayer for me. Comments, just say a prayer for me, okay? Anyway, you would have died laughing watching. He is the king of funnels. He is the king of marketing, the king of videos, the king of content. And to see his first videos being published, tears down my face. What are you doing? It's just, we need to start developing themes over and over and over, that things are possible for the people that you are helping and serving and growing. And we are going to tell that framework and develop those themes over and over and over again. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about frameworks tomorrow as we're getting into it a little bit more deep at Funnel Hacking Live. So I hope that you know that you are a great face behind what you are doing. You are. And if you don't feel like you are, start finding out why you are. What has brought you here? Who are the people that have inspired you to be here and to teach this? How has it blessed you? Because those are things you don't have to make up. You don't have to jump on and have this crazy social media plan that's made up and organized in this crazy fake way. Like, it's you and your content that have brought you to where you have been. And you can be that hero. You can be that hero behind whatever it is you teach. I learned from a guy yesterday that has made millions, Jermaine.
Oh yeah.
Maybe billions, maybe a billion, hundreds of millions.
Hundreds of millions.
Okay. From teaching gospel chords, gospel piano online. By ear. Yeah, you can do what you're doing, okay? You can be the face behind that, because he has been so smart. I just learned from a guy that is crushing it in his industry by selling beats to rappers. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what it is. If you are doing the scripture journaling thing, if you're going to teach funnels with me, come do it. Let's do it. Oh my gosh, let's do this. But it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you're doing hairdressing, whether you're doing podcasting, whatever it may be, it can work if people are constantly wanting to know, what else is this person going to teach me? How can this person guide me? And I buy into that. I believe that. That makes total sense to me when I learn about spiritual gifts, when I see examples like Linda Reeves, and I see the boldness of Sherry Dew when she talks about being single and she talks about what it means to be a mother. Like, I see these things over and over, and I'm like, this is what they're doing. They are superheroes in their field, and by telling those stories and those pains and those experiences, they are bringing me along for every book and every experience and every class and every meet I can come to, because I want more from that amazing superhero. So while it's fun to talk about the Iron Man has all the answers and made Marvel $12.3 billion more than it did DC Comics. The important thing is that you really are someone who is the right face behind what you're doing. So hang in there, be someone that is likable, don't be boring, share your flaws and your evolution, become a great storyteller, and let's develop a framework together. I'm going to talk about that more tomorrow. I love you guys. Thanks for hanging with me on Funnel Hacking Live 2020. Anybody want to come next year with me? Can we start making a plan? I'm going to buy my ticket probably tomorrow to be here next year. It's in Nashville again. Please come with me. I would love to have you here. You guys are amazing. You are the right hero behind your business and your movement. I'm proud to know you. You guys are the best. Love you guys. Bye-bye. If you enjoyed this podcast, I know you would enjoy my course, The Funnel Blueprint Challenge. What in the world do funnels have to do with you thinking bigger as a woman of faith, business, and motherhood? Well, my friend, everything. Funnels are just a fancy word for a brilliant business plan that grants you more money, more free time, and more impact without sacrificing your role as a woman of faith and family. My favorite part about funnels? Well, building a plan that is serving every single customer. Customers who have $0 to spend and those who are ready to invest thousands in you. The Funnel Blueprint Challenge, available at sarahgracelife.com/challenge, is filled with 45 days of step-by-step guidance on starting, growing, and expanding your business right. This is the exact blueprint I use to build funnels for high-end clients. No more shoot-from-the-hip strategies with your marketing idea of the week. Get your funnel built with me in 45 days in the Funnel Blueprint Challenge so that you can share your awesomeness with the world. Let me be awesome at teaching you funnels so that you can be awesome at what you do. Head to sarahgracelive.com/challenge to register. Thanks for listening to the podcast.